Hello, everybody. Welcome back to DevDive, a conversational podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Steven Fontana, and with me, as always, he's Andy Asimakis. How you doing, buddy?
How's it going, bud?
I'm tired.
I know, me too.
I had a long weekend, and today was a long day, but I love starting our weeks with these interviews because they just put a jolt of energy into my week. You know what I mean? They just get me right like a stiff uppercut to the taint. Just boom, ready to go.
I feel like it's the opposite for me. I feel like on a Monday, it's the day I want to die the most. I feel like I can't go on. It's only the first day into the week, and it's draining at the office. No one's there, and
Yeah.
it's like the ghost town just wreaks havoc on your emotional, like
That's Fridays at my office.
And your mental faculties.
Sure.
And then I come home, I'm like, I gotta talk to people that I don't know for the first time, and I have to be on at like night.
Turn it on, baby. Turn it on.
But I think this guest is he makes you want to be more on than usual because he seems like a lot of fun in our little pre-show chatter. So I'm very excited.
Of course. And ladies and gentlemen, our guest this week is Josh Krassenstein. You know how hard it is to say that after the of Josh?
Yeah, it's what it was.
It's like Frankenstein.
Oh, so it's Stein. Okay,
yeah.
Krassenstein.
You wouldn't know because
still, yeah. I only called you Josh at PAX. I didn't say anything else. But developer of World of Grimm, a digital collectible card game set in the Brothers Grimm universe, out right now in early access on Steam. Josh, welcome to the show proper. How you doing?
Appreciate it. Thank you. Happy to be here.
Yeah. I've been playing the game. I do enjoy it. For awesome. Those who don't know what a World of Grimm is, why don't you give the elevator pitch to start us off, and then we'll kind of go into a little deep dive.
Sure. World of Grimm is a fast-paced, synchronous, turn-based collectible card game, and it lasts 5 minutes long. There's only 6 turns to play, and every character that you see in the game and every location is from the Brothers Grimm fairy tales.
Yeah, at first glance, when we're at PAX, so obviously the first kind of analog people draw is to Marvel Snap in a way, just of how kind of quick it is and the layout of the lanes and all that stuff. So there are 3 locations, and the locations reveal over the first 3 rounds, which is similar to a Marvel Snap. But the difference here is that all you have is your 6 moves, and you're trying to think multiple steps ahead, and again, you don't know what these lanes are going to be until they're revealed. So you really only have 3 turns. You have 3 turns of planning, and then 3 turns of kind of like adjusting to what the hell just happened to you, or what cards you drew and stuff like that. What's the genesis of this? Like, why did you come up to, first of all, the Brothers Grimm universe, but also how'd you land on this type of card game?
Sure. Well, Brothers Grimm, it literally was a complete random thing. We were sitting there in the living room watching like Futurama, I think it was. And we had this, my fiance, Courtney, who was at PAX with me. She has a Brothers Grimm fairy tales book that's just always been in the cabinet. We've never touched it, never opened it. It's just been one of those things that she bought a long time ago, right? And I was talking to her about that. I didn't know what game to make next because this is our 4th game. And I was talking about that I wanted to make a card game. I've been really into card games forever. And I was like, it'd be really cool to make some kind of card game. And I was hundreds of hours into Marvel Snap at that time, right? So, and there's no other competitor like it. There's nothing else like it. Not everybody likes Marvel, which is fine. To each their own. And I looked up. I was like, I wonder if Brothers Grimm is public domain, and it is. So we ran with it. And the original concept was not Brothers Grimm, and it was mildly horrifying. It was a gender-swapped Harry Potter game.
Okay.
So we're talking like Harriet Portia.
Interesting.
Right? Like it was, but we did like an AI thing to see if it would actually like look and feel cool. So I typed in like female Harry Potter, and I got the weirdest stuff, and I was like, this isn't going to work. We can't do this one. So
yeah,
it was going to make way too many people mad. So
I would have gone for that.
Yeah, it would have been something real weird. Like, we had like Renee Weasley. It was like, weird, like all this weird, ridiculous stuff. And we got like a few cards in, and I went, no.
This is
So Brothers Grimm hits home much easier.
Yeah, it's much more recognizable, and then you also have the discovery factor of, oh, I didn't know that was a Brothers Grimm character, or
Right.
stuff like that. So yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a lot of people when we were at PAX, because this is how we met. For anybody who's listening, we met Steve and we met Jimmy through. Unfortunately, we didn't meet Andy there, but we met Steve and Jimmy at PAX at our booth, and it was pretty awesome and cool. And they're awesome people. That's why we're here. But a lot of people, we go, "Have you heard of Brothers Grimm?" And they go, "No." And I was like, "Have you heard of like Rapunzel and Snow White
Yeah.
and Gretel?" And they're like, "Yeah, I've heard of them." I'm like, "That's Brothers Grimm."
Yeah.
Like, allow me to educate you real quick.
Brothers
right?
Grimm is everything Disney stole from, and also it is 64% more horrific than
Oh my
the
God.
stories you know.
They're so dark.
Yeah, they're horrifying.
They're
But
great.
one of the coolest things, and the thing that I just harped on, first of all, the game is so simple to pick up and play. I sat there for like 3 minutes with the tablets you had set up. I won a bunch of my first games. It was like it had its hooks in me right away.
Yeah, that's the goal.
Also plays really well on Steam Deck. So there you go.
As I've heard.
Yeah.
We
Yeah.
actually
does
had a
it?
guy at
Indeed.
PAX come back and he downloaded it that night on Steam Deck, came back and showed us that it was working on Steam Deck. So we hadn't tried it on there yet.
Yeah. Yeah. It works just
Steam
fine.
told us that it was not going to get verified on Steam Deck because we don't have controller support in the
Yeah,
game.
it won't get officially verified, but it mimics it's touchgreat, so it
Right.
worked out fine.
And you have the thumbstick that acts as a mouse.
Yep, exactly.
Right.
Worked out great. But the cool thing was the story about the variant arts and how you're supporting artists.
Yeah.
So I kind of wanted to dive into that aspect of things too, because I think that's probably, at least in the indie dev scene and the indie game scene, I feel like that's a really cool, unique take on how to support artists.
For sure.
Yeah, tell us about that.
So it's not even just the indie game scene. Artists are paid horribly in the game industry.
Mhm.
They're paid horribly in pretty much everything that exists with artists. And they're undervalued and they're underappreciated. And you always see on Twitter artists that are looking for more jobs, more work, more anything. And we wanted to do something about that because of how our game is set up. We have one artist who does all of the base art. His name's Fabricio. He's phenomenal. All the art you unlock in the game for free is all him. And then as you go through the game and you open the shop, there's a thing that we're doing similar to like League of Legends skins or like Hearthstone special cards or whatever, anything like that. We are doing a thing called variants, which if you are familiar with Marvel Snap, it's not an uncommon word. And the variants will always be $5. And if you want to have Halloween Cinderella, you can have Halloween Cinderella. If you want an undead version of Sleeping Beauty, we got that too. If you want an anime version of the peasant, it's there. We're kind of open to giving all of our artists creative freedom and then also labeling their work with their name so that they have immediate credit when you open a card to look at it. Another thing with that is if somebody buys the $5 variant of Halloween Cinderella, the artist who drew that version of that card, we give them a royalty comp on each one. So if a new variant comes out and it's the Celestial Godmother Toad, which is just released in the most recent patch to the game, and 10,000 people buy that one, we give that artist Kira a significant cut.
Yeah.
Oh shit.
And it's cut the same way that Steam cuts money for us. So it's every month. And we are very fair about it. We make sure that they sign off on it, that they appreciate it. And we also pay them for the art when they're making it too. So they get double pay out of it. And it creates a long-lasting relationship with those people. And they want to draw because they enjoy what they're doing. Because they get to draw what they want to draw.
Yeah, and they get kind of like a maybe a little friendly rivalry, like see if I could my variant sells more than your variant, or
Right.
like, let's see who hit the top of the charts. You know what I mean?
Put me in the next bundle. Put me in the next bundle.
Yeah, it's dope.
I want to do a quick tangent because you did mention about how artists are not paid very well.
Yeah.
Andy, I'm sorry to interrupt. Would you mind making your mic a little bit louder? You're
Oh,
kind of
sure.
low on
You
my
could
end.
have said that like a while ago.
It's only happened recently, so I don't know if the mic just went away from your face or whatever, but appreciate you just boosting that bad boy up a
I
little
hope
bit.
this is better.
That's better. Thank you.
Okay, great.
I can hear you now.
Fantastic. Yeah, so you mentioned about how artists aren't paid very well. Why do you think that is? 'Cause I would imagine, art, it's the visual component. It's what grabs folks' attention the most.
Of course.
Like, all the zeros and ones, that's all other, ball of wax. And that's intense work, but no one thinks about the coding when they're looking at a game or playing
No.
it. They're seeing, is it like a visual feast for the eyes, or is it going to catch their attention? So why aren't they paid? Well, if
Well,
that's
there's a
going to draw
stat.
you in first.
Yeah, there's a stat that came out that a person who goes on the Steam will look at a game for about 8 seconds
Mhm.
before they decide whether they skip it or they look more into it.
Hmm.
And it's 8 seconds of the video, of the tutorial, or of the demo trailer or whatever, or the gameplay trailer, or they skip the trailer completely and they scroll for 5 or 6 seconds. They go, nah, right? And it happens constantly. There was a whole big study done on it.
God, it's like TikTok mentality.
Basically,
That's what it is.
TikTok has kind of attributed to it a little bit, but Steam has been around longer than TikTok, obviously.
Right.
But it's that dopamine that I need, that little hit where it goes, oh, this is kind of like Age of Empires. I'm going to like this one. Or, oh, I love Diablo, and this is a game that looks like Diablo, right? Like, it's the little things like that are what connect people. So us having a similar format to Marvel Snap, which when somebody recognizes that, I tell them thank you, because we want that familiarity, but also feeling different. So when someone goes, oh, this is a Snap, like, I can get behind that. Right. And then they start looking at it more, and they see that it's also free to play, and they see that we have a similar shop, and they see that we have this, and they see that we have that, and we see that we have, our cards can die. So things change. It's basically, it's important to have that, the similarity feel. There's no actual word for that, but, tanging back off of that, back to art. So because of that, and because of art being needed everywhere, outsourcing art is what making everything so cheap and bringing everything down. So when you outsource art through Upwork and somebody goes, and I didn't outsource for cheap, but all of our artists are paid very fairly. But I literally put out a job posting on Upwork looking for independent card artists, right? And I got some that were $250 a card, which is a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
And I got some that were $10 a card. Those $10 a card people, it was all right, but nothing spectacular, right? The $50 card people seemed to be the sweet spot. $50 in Brazil, solid money. $50 in Eastern Europe is solid money.
Right.
But I'm not just going to have them do one card. So I'm going to have them do one of our longest running variant artists, Luan Maximino. He's from Brazil. He's done over 50 cards or 50 to 60 variants for us now. He's done all over stuff from like cyberpunk to steampunk to demonic cards. He's done, I don't even know. He did an entire sports collection. So he's got like, Pied Piper playing baseball and hitting the ball with his flute. He's got like other characters doing cool stuff. The wolves running track, right? So I think the biggest issue is that people see that, or other artists see that and go, if I price my stuff at $120 an hour, no one's going to take my stuff.
Right.
And the going rate on this website is $14 an hour, and I can't live on that. So I'm going to have to either draw worse, and then as they see me, I can go, hey, well, my stuff is a little bit better than that. Here's $30 an hour. Can you do that?
Right.
Or they can go, this isn't going to work out like that. I can only do it per piece. So there's such a huge discrepancy inside the art world for costs. And now with Twitch emotes being a huge thing, where you can buy them for $8 an emote, that person must be using this template. Like, there's no way that they're spending
Yeah, of
enough
course.
time to actually be worth $8. Or they're spending too little time. I don't even know how to even phrase that because it sounds insane to me, right?
Yeah, there's also, I mean, I've gotten into the issue where, like, for example, I years ago I bought, I did on Fiverr. I tried to get some animated logo packages,
Yeah.
and so I was like, all right, look, this guy was charging like $50 for, but you realize that all he's doing is taking an Adobe After whatever it is stock, all the
Mhm.
stock transitions, putting your logo in it and making sure it all works and putting a little sound to them. And then he sends you this whole package. And now with the advent of AI, I'm starting to see that a lot of these, so-called Fiverr artists are just using AI and tweaking it a little bit to,
100%.
kind of fit the, what what their client is going for. But yeah, like the main point is like, there's like video games are mostly the visual art. Like that's most of what it is. Most people who are making a game are a programmer or a designer or
Yeah.
director, producer. Like it's very rare that we get the person that just makes the art, right? That makes a game, because they're like, I have a bunch of art. Now I need somebody that could program. Well, programming is, an easy thing. It's X amount per hour. Like,
Right.
and you buy it and that's it. Like you partner up with somebody, and it's like whatever many hours. Whereas when you need so much art, that cost could be so exponential
Yeah.
and cost prohibitive. And you're like, just look at Andy, just as an analog, just us trying to get art for the podcast, overlays, logos, like all this stuff. You realize when you start writing down what you actually need just to do a podcast, I can't imagine what that is for a video game. Like, just like,
We have dumped money into this game.
yeah, I
More
can't
money than I ever thought I would dump into a game. This is our most expensive game ever for the studio. And we're still not done when it comes to art because we have a new card coming out every week.
Right.
There are cards you're going to see when you play the game that have placeholder silhouettes. We literally do not have enough funding to finish the art right now, but I can keep working on the coding stuff and keep adding content.
Right.
And since the game is free to play, anybody can enjoy it. And if it's early access and there's one or two characters when you play the game that are missing art, you go, whatever, no big deal, right?
Right.
So where does the funding piece come in for a free to play game like this? And you have a constant, like, there's guaranteed expenses with weekly cards you have to produce and put them in the game. How do you monetize this? That's going to eventually pay for all these growing costs on a weekly basis.
Yeah, it's a huge issue and a huge concern. It's something we wait on for a long time. And we decided we're just going to rob banks. And it seems really working out. No, just kidding. Okay, so there's two avenues to go. One is to put a bunch of ads all over your game. And Unity we make our game in Unity. You wouldn't be able to tell. Our game is extremely smooth compared to the stigma that is Unity games or used to be Unity games.
Yeah.
So we could litter it with ads. Unity has a quick button that says add ads, and then you put a spot where you want the ads to go after certain things, and then it's done, right? Except for ads turn people off, right? They turn off the excitement. So the other option, of course, is microtransactions. And with a free-to-play game, and especially a game in this realm, in this digital collectible card game realm, you have to follow suit. Right? If I were to make this game $6, nobody would play it because I can just play Marvel Snap or Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering or SoulForge. Like it's not something where they're going to go, yeah, man, I can't wait to play this $25 card game when I can play another game for free. And this game just came out in early access, right? It's not going to be a thing. So we have to follow suit with the actual recipe of how these games are built. So our game has an in-game shop. It has Steam purchases, so it has fraud protection, it has anti-cheat, it has all that stuff built into it to make sure that all the transactions are safe, secure, and they go from $5 to $100, and it's just the in-game the premium currency, and that stuff lets you buy the variants. So obviously we get the money from Steam when somebody buys a microtransaction like that, but the variants get tracked on our back end, and that's how we know how many pieces Kira has sold, or how many pieces Luan has sold, or how many pieces
Right.
James has sold. Like we have a way to track all of that so that when we do pay them, we're very transparent about it. Everyone in the office Discord, because our Discord is all remote. So everyone in the office Discord knows how many every piece is sold. We try to keep it as clear and transparent as possible to the point where I did a Twitch stream at the end of last year talking about how much money Stag City made last year. Like, it's public. I don't want this to be this hidden thing. More people need to understand what it's like to go through the life of an indie developer in a studio, because a lot of people who watch on Twitch are other developers, and they're unaware of what it's like when you have 3 games and a 4th one, and the first 3 games are not really making money anymore. Right? So you have to figure out how to do freelance work and this and that. So I totally forget your question, but I think I got there.
You did. You gave me
Okay.
the two, your 2 means of monetization. So you did great.
Yeah, we're following suit with Marvel Snap, and we're following suit with other games like League of Legends who've done really, really well with that. And those games are million dollar, like multi-million dollar companies because of their monetization system. So why wouldn't we follow suit?
Can I just say there's a review on Steam which just says it's a recommended review. It says we have Marvel Snap at home. And the cracking up
so hard, man. I saw that. Like, honestly, I see that. Like I said, when people say your game's like Marvel Snap, it's a compliment. It really is. Oops. I want someone to go, oh man, this game is just like Marvel Snap. Like, that's a great feeling for a developer. Because if you make a roguelike and someone goes, oh, it's just like Enter the Gungeon, wouldn't that feel great? Yeah, it would. So when there's some developers that say that kind of stuff and they go, I hate when people say, no, they shouldn't. It should be amazing. It should always feel like it's the best compliment in the world when someone compares your game to a successful game.
Unless you get that weird, there was that Cuphead wannabe game with the magicians.
Yeah, that was a little weird.
That was just like you're legit copying everything from Cuphead.
That's a full copy. That's funny.
You don't want that. You don't want that comparison.
No.
What do you think, Josh, is going? I want to phrase this the right way, because your previous answer was, you're monetizing the variants, right? So you're hedging your bets that people are going to want variants of the cards they have.
Right.
What is your direction to an artist when you know that if the art has to appeal in a more broad way, when you're hoping that a lot of people are going to try and buy it? Like, it's not necessarily
right
a collector's situation. I at least I don't look at it as that, like, oh, I need to get all the variants because I'm a collector. I love that card, by the way.
That Rapunzel is definitely a collector's one. I'll shoot you a code for that, Andy, because you didn't get one.
Yeah,
so
I think I have one in the
hell yeah.
But yeah, like there are certain like the cyberpunk stuff I think is really cool, so like I might hunt all of those. Is that kind of your direction with that? Is like, let's do themes, because people who buy one of those theme are more likely to buy the other characters in those theme? Is it make them as sexy as possible? Because
some of the cards are our main artist is Brazilian.
Yeah, some of those cards are pretty sexy.
It just explains it up, right?
Some of those cards are pretty damn sexy, but also like there's something about seeing a character that you think what they look completely different, that is enchanting. It's like, oh, that's the evil step sister. Oh, or mother. I forget which one it is specifically, but
the stepsisters don't have any art yet. So
yeah, so it's the stepmother. It's like, okay, like that's pretty rad. I kind of like
morbidly horrifying.
Yeah, a little horrifying. Yeah, for sure, for sure. So yeah, what's your direction when you're dealing with the artist? Because you said you give them a lot of creativity, but like, do you say, hey, we need something for these collectors because we see that this variant is doing the best right now, this style of variant is doing the best right now, let's get more of those? Like, how do you
not necessarily, honestly. We give them so much creative freedom to the point where I go, all right, guys, so they're like, if they're like, I'm really good at anime, I go, sweet, if you're really good at anime, let's run Red Riding Hood, right? Let's see how you do with that. And then, did you like doing that? Do you want to do another anime card? Right? So we let them play to their strengths. So the guy who does Cyberpunk is the same guy who does all of the Maximino variants. It's his last name. He has his own style, whether it's like a card with like a heavy white outline around the character. It really stands out. It's really cool. But for him, we just let him do his own thing for the longest time. And then he went, can I do like a theme? I'm like, yeah, sure. Do what you want. You know, like we have so Fabricio, our main artist, is one of the guys in quality control for art. All of our art gets passed through basically an art QC system where 3 out of 5 people who are in like the private channel for each art piece have to approve the piece.
Okay.
If it gets approved, it goes in the game. If not, like our main artist has 20 years of anatomy practice. So if someone's elbow's off, he's going to draw a skeleton over that person and go, hey, you should move this in like this. Having all of the artists be able to collaborate on everything together is what's making everything really strong. And we require every card to have a dynamic pose because nobody wants to see a character like this. Right? It's boring. Mm-hmm. So we don't want it to feel boring.
You want glamour or action shots.
Right.
That's what we're looking
for.
And
we also have some stuff planned. We have a roadmap that just came out recently. We have a system that we're not really sure what to call yet, but like, so it's tentatively called Bust Out. And basically what it does is you can spend a small amount of gold, which is our in-game currency. You can get that through the shop for free. You can play matches and it gives you it. So spending a little bit of that will literally bust the card out of the frame. So it has like small little accents, like the hair might be sitting outside of the card frame for Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Or like you'll see the end of the sword for King Thrushbeard. Like stuff like little things like that. Just a small little thing where it gives you that depth to the card where it's, oh wow, these artists really did a lot of work. And it looks really cool and they spent their time, put their heart and soul into it. I mean, most of the stuff I talk about and most everything I talk about with this game is about art because
it's like we said, it's the delicious thing that you keep seeing, you know. But let's get into a little bit of the actual gameplay and the systems that you borrowed and also the systems that are unique to World of Grimm.
Sure. So World of Grimm is a 6-turn game. You play cards at the same time as the opponent. So it's called a synchronous gameplay instead of asynchronous, similar to most card games where you play, then you wait for your opponent to play, and they're taking forever. So you get up and go get coffee. By the time you get back, you've missed your turn because you didn't realize they ended their turn as soon as you got up, the whole thing, right? So we don't do that here. You press end turn when you play your cards. The same time when the opponent presses end turn, all the cards reveal based on who's winning the game. And you need to be in control or have a higher total attack power in 2 out of 3 locations, which is basically we call them realms, which is basically the Marble Snap format. It's a little bit a way for us to put a spin on it is we're playing Grimm fairy tale stuff. Cards need to die, right? There needs to be death, right? So with that, all of the characters in the game have health. They all have a health stat, similar to like Hearthstone or Magic the Gathering. If a card dies, it's dead on the board. That card is there, dead. It uses up a spot. It does not disappear, does not dematerialize, just like the 1700s. So it's the body count on the ground, right? So we have that. And because of that, we have a mechanic called Fury, and Fury is an ability that only triggers when the card gets hurt. So there's entire decks built around hurting your own cards, but not hurting them so much that they die. We have another thing we took from Majora's Mask.
Oh shit! Here we go. I'm into this already. I'm into this.
Yeah. So we have another mechanic called Time Shift. So our game, even though it's a card game, it has a daytime and it has a nighttime. We call them Dusk and Dawn. It makes sense.
Unique, very unique.
Extremely unique.
Nobody's ever called Dusk and Dawn.
No, Dusk is not even a word. We patented the word. Right, so, but basically that system is called Time Shift. And so if you play a card that's ability has time shift in front of it, it changes the game from dusk to dawn, and any card that has time shift as their ability re-triggers. So you could build decks that you play a card that draws a card when it turns to dusk. But then you can also play another card that does it, changes it back to dawn and then dusk again, and that card draws again. Right? So you could basically combo. It's like a big combo deck in a way. It's like a Hearthstone Rogue deck in a way, right? We have cards that move out of different locations. We have cards that discard cards. We have cards that destroy cards, and we have cards that kill other cards, which is not a Marvel Snap mechanic because there's no health stat in Marvel Snap.
Right.
So we literally have cards that benefit when other cards get hurt, but we have cards that literally say the next card the opponent plays dies. So now the opponent has to go, well, what do I want to sacrifice?
Yep.
Right. We have a card that's the Huntsman. I don't know if you unlocked the Huntsman yet, Steve.
I have, yep.
He's probably one of my most fun cards in the game. He's a very high risk reward where his ability, when he turns over, any card that's played across from him on the same turn, he shoots them, kills them, and destroys them.
Mm-hmm.
So it's literally just a full out like a nope. Right? It should say nope as the voice.
It's a good it's a good 6th round card, or if you know that it's getting close in a lane and you're
right,
you want to make sure, because obviously, maybe not obviously, but you get more mana to spend or whatever it is.
It's a very Hearthstone mana system.
So it increases every round. So you know those bigger, exactly. You know those bigger, more powerful cards are going to come out at the end. So you might want to set it up where the Huntsman comes out and can take out a heavier card. And then if you know that the opponent has a Huntsman, you might think, okay, well, I'm going to bluff here a little bit. I'm going to put a couple of cost guys over here, and then I'm going to put another guy in the middle that's mid tier and try and sneak that lane or something like that. So there's a little gamesmanship there.
Right. Well. And if you're against a deck that's a destroy deck, that sucks.
Yeah.
That's not good for you.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Right now I'm kind of in between where like I have cards that I want to continue to look at, so they're in my deck no matter what because they're cool. Right. And then there's like, oh, but these cards work together. So I have like half a deck that works and half a deck that's just random shit that I cobble together that I just throw at people. And the cool thing is like you can still win that way. If you're planning not necessarily planning your card's abilities, but you could win solely by planning placement. If you figure out where you're going to put it's almost like poker in a way. It's like, I think this guy's going to go for this lane with a big bopper. So I'm going to put my big bopper over here where he doesn't have anything yet. I'm going to guarantee I could close that lane. That'll be mine. And then it's all about winning this other one over here. And like, you could kind of, you could win just based on those strategies alone, which I think is 100%. Really cool.
Yeah. There's actually some cards that you probably haven't unlocked yet. That actually synergize really well together. There's one that is the Charred Mother. She used to be starts the opponent's hand every game, but then it thinned your deck out and it was an auto include. We changed it. So she's a 0 mana card with a -1 attack, but she gets +1 for every card you play that turn. So you turn 6, dump a bunch of 1 mana cards out and put her down, and she's like a 0/8, which is huge, right? Right. But nobody sees that extra card at the end until you don't know what's going to happen until turn 6. So do you play Huntsman early? Do you try to catch them off guard? Do you know that they have that card in their deck? Are they playing a deck archetype that would fit that role?
Right.
Outside of that, we have spell cards, right? We took the spell system or instance basically from Magic or Hearthstone. They take up a spot on the field. They don't do anything. Hold on. Pepper, go lay down.
I knew it was an animal. It had to be.
Is that a schnauzer?
Yeah, it's a schnauzer.
Oh my god, I had the same exact dog.
They're so loud. They're so loud.
I was like, I know what kind of dog that is.
Yeah, that bark is very iconic, the schnauzer. So anyway, spells.
Yeah, they
we
work
have
like
spells in the game. What's up?
They work like instant. I'm just
Yeah, they work like instants, but they take up a spot on the board too. But they have no health stat and they have no attack stat. So they might kill other cards. They might actually make the opponent discard cards. They might do something really. There's one that's pretty far into the later game stages called Invoke Destruction, which is a 5-mana spell that discards your entire hand and adds a card called Sargus the Firebringer to your hand. And he is a huge 6-mana dude that is +2 attack for every card you've discarded this game. Yikes. So you've already discarded your entire hand. And now you're going to play this giant 6-mana 19-21 attack guy. And the opponent knows that you're going to play that card because that card you have nothing else in your hand.
It's
that's
the combo, yeah. What Brothers Grimm is that from?
So Invoke Destruction is just from literally any story where there's fire. Sargus the Firebringer is we needed something that sounded epic and cool, and it's kind of like a dungeon. It's an homage to Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, but it's a 100% fake card that's been created.
Yeah, but that's fine. I was just curious.
We needed to have something in there that made that card feel powerful. And we didn't want to gatekeep players from seeing a Grimm character.
Gotcha.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel fair, right?
Right.
So yeah.
Man, I didn't expect the Majora's Mask inspiration on my bingo card tonight.
Yeah. Isn't that awesome? I think
I'm still stuck on that one.
It's one you could say Outer Worlds too. Or Outer Wilds, not Worlds, Outer Wilds. But yeah, the dawn dusk system is really interesting because every time you play the game, it says whether it's dawn or dusk to start out. And some cards do better at nighttime. There's an entire realm that shuffles beetles into your deck. But the beetles are only good at nighttime. They're 1 attack cards otherwise.
Yeah.
So we have enough mechanics in the game where this time shift thing, if you don't feel like being involved in it, it won't matter to you. But there's enough in there where if you want to build a deck centered around it or just around daytime, you can.
I tell you one thing, you don't care about it until somebody does it to you. And then you're like, you son of a bitch. Okay, right. I guess now I need to worry about this damn thing. Yeah. Now I need to.
Cards like Frederick and Catherine are really strong when they get comboed together. Because Frederick gets a extra attack every time a time shift happens. And Catherine draws a card every time time shift happens. So you get there's a huge combo there. There's Godfather Death's a big 6-mana dude that it does extra time shifts and does all this crazy stuff that makes everything else on your board stronger. There's just honestly one of the most and frustrating and least satisfying things is when you're playing against the Fury deck and the last turn they drop out Blight Burst and then they drop out Maid Moline and everything on their side almost dies and then you just get blown up. And it is if you do it yourself, it's very rewarding. But if they do it, then they have like a Rumpelstiltskin with like 40 attack and you don't know what to do. So
it reminds me of the first time I got Galactus in
oh my god.
When that shit happens, you're just like, wait, what?
Rough.
Just everything's destroyed except for that one little location. Big ass.
That's a hard card that they've been still messing with, trying to get right.
Yeah. Andy, what you got, buddy?
I'm just gonna say like this came at the right time because I've been playing. I'm not a huge card game fan by any means. But I've been playing a lot of Queen's Blood in the FF7 Rebirth game.
Yeah.
It is such an addictive little card game. It's like awakened a hunger for just card games in general.
Pretty crazy. Yeah.
So I'm like super eager to start playing this the second this call ends.
Oh, that's super nice of you.
On the Steam Deck. Like no joke.
Yeah, it's definitely worth it.
Like Hades 2 came out.
Oh my god, I'm so excited.
I can wait for a little bit longer.
Hours and hours. I put over 100 hours into Hades 1. I loved Hades, man. What a great game.
Hades 2, the
Giant is such a wonderful.
That's what I've heard.
Like I loved all their old games too. Bastion.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Pyre was a great one.
Pyre was good.
Transistor
is by far one of my top 10 games of all time.
I forgot that was them too.
Yeah. As soon as you finish that game and you see what happens, and then it starts over again, and you're like, Wait, what?
Josh,
I'm not spoiling anything.
not spoilers, but when this call ends, I'm gonna have to ask you for your mailing address. I have like all this signed Supergiant stuff from like
No way.
12,000 PAX Easts ago.
No
And
way.
it's like multiple copies, and I'd love to give you some
Oh,
stuff because I know
that's
you'd
amazing.
appreciate
If you want to, I'm never gonna
it's
ask for it.
I have the
Cool.
majority of it already framed. They just sent like a bunch of stuff. There's like 8 postcards of the same Bastion art, or like
Awesome.
I think it was when Pyre was coming out, or even
Okay.
Transistor. One
Yeah.
of those two.
Okay.
It was like years ago.
Wow.
I'm gonna hook you up, buddy.
Yeah, I love Transistor. It's such a beautiful game.
You're good people. I like you.
Oh, I appreciate that, man.
Just looking at your patch notes, your most recent patch notes from May 2nd, got 2 new realms added. It's pretty
Yeah.
good.
There's Stormy Skies is a new realm which has no art yet, but there are a lot of cards in the game that move cards around, and there's a card in the first set, the Tall Ferryman, who is from a really odd story about this guy who carries people across water, and he's forced to do it forever.
Okay.
So,
Yeah, sure.
and then like he's told that he doesn't have to do it anymore if he brings one more person across. And the last person he brings across is the king, but he doesn't bring him across all the way, and he drowns them in the middle of the water. So it's really it's a weird story. But
so it's a Brothers Grimm story.
It's a Brothers Grimm story.
Yeah.
So he's a card that's from our tier 1 cards, are basically what they're called. They're like the cards you get. Like there's a subset of cards that you get in the first, I'd say 110 levels in the game, collection levels in the game. And as you level up your cards, that's how you unlock more cards in the game. After you play cards, you unlock new cards. We don't stop you from being able to unlock anything. If you lose, you still get experience for your cards. Your cards still level up. You still unlock new cards.
Dope.
But the Tall Ferryman is the first introduction to move cards for you, where it pulls all the cards to the right by one realm, right? So then if you pull a card into or out of Stormy Skies, that card takes damage. So that changes everything up a little bit more. Like, I have this card for my turn of 6, but do I play him? What's going to die on in my field if I actually do that? Our other location is the Boneyard. And the Boneyard creates a skeleton hound that grows bigger and bigger when you play other cards. So it's +1 attack for every card you play that entire game. So if you choose to prioritize filling your board, that card will have 11 or 9 attack. Nice. But if you don't, and the opponent does, there's a chance that they might end up winning that location because if it's snowball or bringing other cards back. And then there's some cards that bounce your cards back to your hand as well. So there's a way for you to play more of this.
Yeah, because you don't lose power. You don't lose attack for the bone.
Right.
Skeletal hound.
Nope. It's just an extra one every time.
Yeah, that's dope.
Yeah. So the new realms are a nice, fun addition. We're trying to add content every week, and we have 2 years of cards saved up. So we're looking at a solid 2 years of new cards that have not been released. We also understand that at one point we're going to run out of characters. Right? What happens when the Brothers Grimm stories is a finite number of stories. It is like 200 stories.
Yeah.
But you can only have so many Prince Johns, right?
Now you could get some Steamboat Willie in there.
Right. So actually,
and whatever is like, in public domain, just toss it in there.
Yeah. So our overarching story, and we're going to have a mode called Journey Mode, which is basically a single player campaign where you're playing against predetermined decks that are AI only, where you can't unlock these cards, right? You're playing against these special cards going through a journey.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So like a single player campaign. Excuse me. But basically our overarching story is there's this character, the Dark One, and you play against him in the tutorial. He doesn't have a voice yet. We're still working on that. But he's created a way to open portals for other fairy tales to be in the same realm together. So like that's why Rapunzel and Snow White and Hansel and Gretel are all sitting on the same game board.
Sure, yeah.
That's the only explanation behind it, is that it's just a freak accident, right? So with that, who's to say he doesn't open a portal for the Hunchback of Notre Dame?
Mhm.
or The Wizard of Oz, because it's all public domain. Right? So now we have Dorothy. And now we have now we have the Glinda, and we have like all this crazy, the flying monkeys or whatever they're called, right? Like
I think,
we have all that stuff. We have the Hans Christian Andersen stories that we can open up
right.
to.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah. You could also could you also get like I don't know how this works, but I think the monsters, right? Like that whole thing is actually public domain, but they're making
Well, like Frankenstein,
yeah,
Wolfman.
Frankenstein,
Yeah.
Wolfman, all them guys.
Yeah, like the actual like Dracula and everything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah, we can even have all the big baddies come in,
Ooh.
right? And we can literally we're doing a season pass in the game, but we're never going to make it be for $10 you can get the brand new card of the month.
Right.
Mm.
Yeah,
not
that always feels weird.
Yeah, we're not doing that. We're doing brand new card. It'll be released it's released in tier 5 cards. So you have if you've unlocked enough cards, there's a percentage chance that you can get that card early.
Sure.
But our season pass is only going to be variants and like in-game credits and gems and
Sure.
the whole right. You get avatars when you get every avatar for every character when you own it, even variants. So if you unlock a new card and you like the evil stepmother's face, you can put that as your avatar, right? Go fear into your opponents. We're trying really, really hard to have the season passes be fun and engaging and make you want to enjoy them.
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
That
but
seems
of
fair.
course, as always, completely optional. You don't miss out on cards by not buying them. Right. Yeah, you'll miss out on exclusive variants that won't enter the rotation for a while. But it's okay.
Yeah, they'll eventually show up, and
yeah, of course.
Whatever.
We've confirmed what our first season pass is going to be, and it's the first time saying it on a podcast, which is cool.
Oh, exclusive!
Here we go.
Exclusive release. What do they do on the E3 world premiere?
Oh yeah,
we did. So when we did our
suck
indie
it, Jeff
showcase,
Keighley.
Yeah. When we did our indie game showcase last year, we kept making it bigger, and by the end it was like intergalactic planetary premiere.
Love that.
Oh my god, yes,
That's amazing. So
we're so dumb.
the first season pass will be called Trouble in Tokyo.
Okay.
And we're talking 1700s Prince Charming samurai, right? Or like Shinto samurai, a samurai maiden Cinderella. It's like stuff like that, where it's all like old school. We have an artist that draws in this old timey 70s comic book style. So we're gonna have him draw all of the characters for that, and he'll get a commission on when somebody buys the season pass because it's all his art.
That's awesome.
But yeah, so I think Trouble in Tokyo is a good first start, and I think that'll bring. I mean, who doesn't like old school samurai? It's like Ghost of Tsushima was such a popular game that it makes sense to be in that realm somehow. Like we have an Oni card in our game. We have one character who's an Oni card, but that's like a Japanese demon. It's not the same.
Yeah.
So,
All right, Andreas.
That's our first thing, is to try to like meld the Japanese samurai world into Grimm, which sounds really hard. But if we go like Yoshimitsu style, I think it'll be really cool.
Well, I'm down. You got my season pass money. That's for sure.
We also the funny thing is just talking off season pass money. We had a Kickstarter back in October. And the game had was a successful Kickstarter. It wasn't like millions of dollars. We didn't like kill it. Like we just passed our goal, right?
Sure.
Which is fine.
Believe me, it's hard to do.
Yeah. But we had a tier called the Founders tier. And the Founders tier is $70 one time, like a normal paying for a game, and season passes for life. You get all season passes.
Oh,
right. So we're contemplating on allowing that to be a thing, a purchasable thing as DLC on Steam. It's up in the air still. I feel like we need to have way more people interested in the game before we go, hey, if you're going to be spending $10 a month anyway, you might as well get them forever.
Right.
But we're gonna be we're hesitant on all that stuff. We don't want to feel like we're stealing money from people. I don't like that feeling.
If you make it known that you have 2 years of cards already like in the can, it's a much better investment. Like when I was a kid, a teenager or whatever, I played a lot of MMOs, and they would sell like the lifetime subscription for like $300.
Yeah.
And then the game would shut in 18 months. And then you're sitting there like, what the fuck? I spent 300 bones on this game and it's gone forever. And it didn't even make my money's worth.
Is this your City of Heroes woes?
No, City of Heroes.
City of Heroes. Actually, there's a community for City of Heroes rebuilt the game.
They did, yeah.
I jumped in. Yeah, it's
pretty good. It's pretty good.
Champions Online, I think, was the first one that did the lifetime subscription.
Dude, I played so much City of Heroes though. When
I played a lot.
I played so much City of Heroes.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
What a great game though. Like I always thought about it, and then my cousin was like, "Hey, they remade that." And I went, "No, they didn't."
Oh yeah, they got the.
I don't want to know about that.
There was 2 of them. There were 2 fan made games. One was just the game as it was on the day it shut down, that they just made a private server for.
Right.
And then there was another one that continued to develop the game.
Yeah.
Like they continued to add content and add, just costumes and missions, and you could create your own missions. And like, I don't remember if that was in the base game by the time it ended, but like it was just this whole smorgasbord, and they got the official blessing from was it what's the name of the not NCSoft, it was the crypto I forget what it was.
But the cryptocurrency.
No, it's like Paragon. Cryptic Studios.
Yeah. They got the blessing. So they were allowed to keep it up and running, and they got the official like seal of City of Heroes. So it's like, yeah, it's basically back, which is awesome. I dove into that a bit.
Homecoming or whatever it's called, right?
Yeah. Yep. Well, speaking of Homecoming, it's time to bring this podcast home with a little rapid fire to kind of shake things loose.
And the most beautiful segue.
It was pretty good.
It was solid. It was solid.
It was a solid segue, dude.
Josh, this is where we get to know you. Okay.
Oh man.
We're going to give you some rapid fire questions. You're going to give us the off the top of the head answers.
I love the dread.
I'm ready.
People act like we're going to be like, what are your kinks? So when we come to this portion of the show.
Josh, let's see. When you have to wear a necktie, are you going thin or fat necktie?
Always fat necktie.
Fat necktie. Okay.
Always fat necktie.
Yuck.
You like them wide boys.
It's gotta be, yeah. The full Windsor knot. It's gotta be
I like a double Windsor. I'm a big double Windsor guy. Sure.
And I feel kind of it takes you 30 minutes to put together because you can't get it right. And then you finish it and it's like this tall, and you're like,
listen, man, I went to a boys' Catholic high school. I got the double Windsor down pat.
I'm sure.
Got that shit down. Andy, you're
up. This is a good one, Steve.
Okay.
And I think, knowing you, and I think I know you fairly well.
Me? Yes, you do.
I think you're gonna want to answer the question as well. So I'm pre-blessing you.
Okay.
If you want to
answer
this question as soon as
an honor.
Yeah, as soon as Josh is done. Because I feel like you're gonna want to jump in, knowing you.
Okay.
All right. So Josh.
Yeah.
You're being sold as an action figure.
Okay.
Oh.
Which 2 accessories do you come with?
Oh, a crossbow?
Uh-huh.
You thought about this, right? I thought about this. A crossbow?
Uh-huh.
And that's a hard second option. Because you already have the attack weapon, right? So you need some kind of thing. So it's either an action belt.
Mm-hmm.
An action belt's pretty solid.
Yeah.
Or like a taser.
Oh, I like the taser.
You missed the crossbow with the taser way easy.
I like the taser. That's a strong choice.
Yeah. It's pretty good. I'm gonna go with
hesitation.
Backwards cap. Removable backwards cap.
That's pretty solid.
It has to be.
To have the backwards cap.
But it only goes on backward, right? It can't actually. You can't.
It won't. It won't
a
work.
triangle like stub that you put in,
Yeah.
and it doesn't work forward. Like
Yeah.
Right.
it
Yeah.
only
It just
goes
doesn't
backwards.
click.
Yeah,
Physically
absolutely.
unable to go
Unable
forward.
to. And a goalie hockey stick.
That's awesome.
A little Casey Jones action.
I like that.
Just carry that one around
Like
with you.
Wayne's World.
I think my daughter's knocking on my door. So Andy, why don't you double up on your next question? I'm gonna make sure
All right.
everybody's okay back here.
What was the last gift someone gave you?
Ooh. Last gift. Like, is that including like the dinky little notes that my kids write to me?
Oh, that's kind of cute. What was the last dinky little note your kids wrote for you?
It was actually an "I'm sorry" note. It was, "I'm sorry that when I say that I'm sorry, I'm not actually sorry."
It was like, it's a formality.
Yeah.
I feel like
And then it was like, "Do you forgive me? Yes, no, maybe."
it's totally disingenuous. Like, I don't mean this apology, but
Yeah. It was. It's
move on
like, you should
with
say
our
sorry.
lives.
Oh, sorry. Right.
Was it
Like,
the gift of friendship? What did I miss?
it was a note that one of my kids gave. That was she wrote, "I'm sorry that when I say that I'm sorry, I'm not actually sorry."
Oh,
It was
that's
an
good.
An empty apology.
That's
Empty
great.
apology.
Those
It's
are
an
good
apology
gifts.
about an empty apology.
Those are always the best.
So that was the most recent gift.
Got it. That's cute. That's cute.
Outside of that, it was probably like money in a card or something like that, from like some family member.
What was
Wow. No one has ever gifted me money in a very long time.
That's all I had. Like, people are like, my grandmother still does.
It's
It's like 20 bucks.
it has to be your grandmother.
She's
Yeah.
an 87-year-old Jewish woman who just lives by herself. So she does her own thing, you know. Like, you can immediately think of like she's the stereotypical Jewish woman, the Jewish old lady.
Come here, Bubby.
Yeah, like
Come here, Bubba.
you go over. You're like, she's like, "You look so thin. Why aren't you eating?" I'm like, "I'm 215 pounds. What do you mean I'm thin?"
Do you mind getting a thicker set of glasses, Grandma? What is the best gift you've ever given someone?
Mm.
Ooh.
Like in your mind, this is like, I am immensely proud of this gift that I'm giving.
Maybe, I think a lot of it is listening to people and
Okay.
seeing what they want. And I do a really good job of making sure that, like, when I hear like family members talk, or I hear my fiance talk and she talks about how she wants something, I put it down on my phone for later.
Smart.
And so then all of a sudden she's like, "How do you know I wanted this?" Well, no, I don't know. Like, I have no idea. I gave her for this past Christmas tickets to Beetlejuice the musical, and Beetlejuice is like her favorite movie ever. And she didn't know there was a musical coming out in this area at all, right? Like, it was going to be just in Baltimore. And when I bought the tickets, it was like, it said it was standing room, like, possible or something. And it was like you had to go there, and if you got in, they charged your ticket.
Wow.
So
All right, that's not bad though.
That's kinda cool.
At the
So
very least.
we switched it to it's going up to near Albany next month instead, and it's actual tickets with actual seats. We're not driving hoping we can get in.
Okay. All
None of
right.
that.
That's awesome.
So that's a cool little gift. But I think it was one of that one, and also we just got back right before PAX. We went to Arizona to see her family, and I had never been out there, and it was the first time that the kids got to go meet all of Courtney's family out in Arizona. So she's got a lot of family out there. So it was like a nice little like trip that was spontaneous that she didn't know was going to happen.
Nice.
So I think it was the two of them together was nice. So, yeah.
Andy.
Is she excited for Beetlejuice?
Oh, she's so excited.
Oh my god.
She
I
she's
can't
literally
believe
so
it.
stoked for
Nice
that.
fucking model.
Can't believe it. Hong Kong.
That's my favorite line in the whole movie.
So,
I watched that for the first time on like this network TV.
Yeah.
That was always bleeped out. It would
Oh,
just
Oh,
you would hear him say nice, and it was like a scene transition,
right.
and it was like there was like just dull the audio, so you couldn't hear what he was really
I
saying.
didn't know they did that. It's amazing.
If you could speak to one type of animal, which animal would that be?
Dolphins, man.
Interesting.
Totally
Okay.
dolphins.
Yeah.
Wait.
Side note.
Uh-huh.
You do realize that, like, lions have no idea that dolphins exist, and no one's talking about that.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
like no one knows. Like even sharks. Like sharks have never seen a lion before, and no one's losing their mind on that.
Wow.
Right? Like
That statement just broke.
Yeah, they have no idea.
My brain.
anyway, yeah, dolphins or giraffes.
Before you ask your question, Steve, two things I want to say. That reminds me of this thing I saw the other day on Instagram. It was a reel of a guy showing his dog places where he can't see, like above the car, like in this drawer, in the fridge, like places he'll never be able to see his entire life.
Yeah,
like into the bathtub. Where it was like the weirdest fucking places.
I used to take. We have 2 cats. We have 3 dogs and 2 cats. We have a full zoo in our freaking house, right? And our cats kind of live in the basement because the Schnauzer chases the cats.
I love it.
Eats everything that runs. It's not a dog.
Maniac.
Yeah. So our cats kind of like took the basement. They're like, it's our place, right? So we have a big orange Maine Coon cat. And he's awesome. But I used to, when he was little, carry him around at like our height, and he got to smell things that he could never reach. So I took him on a tour, so he goes smell like the
little smell tour,
the light switch, and like the window, and like stuff he couldn't reach, and he'd just be so happy that he got to go see everything at this height.
Doing that little like, just poking their nose around.
It's always like, do you want to smell this?
Do you want to smell some of that? And then when you mentioned dolphins, it reminded me of a recent Venn diagram that I saw online the other day. It was dolphins having sex, famous poets, and then E.E. Cummings was in the middle.
Oh my god,
the greatest thing I've ever seen.
Oh,
this is why I love the internet so much. Go ahead, Steve.
Have you ever done the intelligence check with dogs? Where you
put a towel over on their heads?
No, it's where you hold them and you slowly walk them into a wall, and if they put their feet out, then they're smart, and if they just like kind of deal with it.
Oh, okay. I got that's happening later.
Yeah, our Schnauzer puts his foot out.
That's happening.
We have a little 3-pound Maltese, and he just like
he just accepts his fate.
He just eats the wall. He's like,
now,
okay,
is it intelligence or is it just unconditional trust?
Maybe a little bit of both.
Well, that's how you make it a little, that's how you soften the blow that your dog's not a complete moron.
He trusts
like he has an overwhelming trust for me.
Yeah, he's just naive. He's not dumb.
Fun fact: before we got the Schnauzer, we were gonna get a Maltese. That was my first choice for the.
We have both, but they were my fiance's dogs, and she had named them Pepper Potts and Tony Stark.
Okay, all right.
And Tony Stark is the Maltese, which is even funnier.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Andy, it's time for the final question. I will handle it.
Oh no!
This week.
Oh no!
It is the final question of the show. It is the most important and most deep and philosophical of them all.
Pick C.
It is.
Big old fart noise of a question that this one is.
Yeah, this is huge. as is tradition, we must know, and you must answer.
Uh-oh.
The question is,
uh-oh,
Andy or Steve?
Oh. See, I met Steve in person, so Andy?
Yeah, that's a good
that works for you somehow.
Yeah, no, that works.
It's like I know what he's like already. I don't want any part of that.
I got enough of it. We're good.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
If you didn't mess up the audio for the interview, then Steve.
I was so disappointed.
But on intern day that day, so
listen, it's why we're here. It's like a fun do-over.
It was fun.
Without the craziest of PAX behind you and
dude, PAX was
that riffraff
chaos.
It was just a fire drill for 4 days of just chaos.
Yeah,
it was wonderful, controlled chaos. Speaking of controlled chaos, that's going to bring us to the end of this show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. If you want to follow us on social media, we're at IndieRift. Just kind of look for us over there. You can go to indierift.com. You can watch the show on YouTube, youtube.com/@IndieRift. Josh, where could everybody find you? Where could everybody find World of Grimm and all that fun stuff?
Everything is at Static City Games on every single platform. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok. Everything's at Stack City Games.
Awesome.
You could also go to worldofgrimm.com and play for free.
Hell yeah. Play for
Because
free.
Right to Steam.
Yeah. And
Also, coming soon, shop.worldofgrimm.com. We're going to actually have a outside of game store so that you don't have to always be in the game to pick up gems for the game or bundles or anything like that.
And what about like t-shirts and stuff and stickers?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I want to have merch. I think merch.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have the t-shirts already. We just need to figure out a comparable way to make sure that it doesn't ever go to back order. So
print on demand, I guess, is
what we're doing.
That's probably the best way to do it. Man, I could get a cyberpunk Rapunzel. I'm about that life.
Ooh.
Oh yeah,
The
PAX East Rapunzel.
Yeah, like a vintage tee kind of like.
Oh, that'd be so sick.
It's like a little faded.
I can get my artist to literally do that, and he would whip that up immediately. So cool. He said that was one of his favorite pieces he's drawn.
Hell yeah!
So.
I want like the Guardians of the Galaxy, but like all the princesses.
Oh, that's cool. Great idea.
Because she totally looks like,
We're super into like multi-themed cards because we've been talking about a pool party themed. Okay, here's a good question, real quick, right before we end. Right, I know I'm not trying to take any light away from you guys at all.
But bonus content. Here we go, folks.
Ready?
The light's all on you, buddy.
This Steve, you've played the game.
Uh-huh.
So you really don't know the characters that much yet. You open the store and you see new pool party bundle. Which 5 characters are at that pool party?
At the pool party.
Based on the characters you've seen, the base art, right?
Okay, so probably Snow White's basically in a bathing suit already.
Right.
So probably
Snow's there for sure.
Yeah, probably Snow White. I don't know, man.
I'd say like Rapunzel sitting there, like creeping around the bushes.
Yeah, probably Rapunzel, but I think you need. I think ironically,
Rumpelstiltskin.
You might want to have like a Rumpelstiltskin or like just the shoemaker there in like one of those old school, like with the sleeves bathing suits.
Yeah, like afraid of the sun.
Yeah, like just like those old school like 1940s bathing suits.
That's awesome.
I think that would be pretty funny. Where they're just sitting there like drinking a drink, like while all the cute kids are running around splashing each other just in the back.
Hansel and Gretel like bobbing in the water.
Yeah, I think
so. We're still trying to figure out which 5 characters to do for the variant pack, but I think that that's like our first fun bundle is like the summer pool party. Like you get these 5 characters for like $12 instead of $25 for buying all 5, right? So like I think that'd be a fun little thing is, oh look, you want the Rumpelstiltskin who's hiding behind the bush because he's being a freaking weirdo, but you also get Snow White at the same time in that pack, right?
Yeah, you got options here. You got options.
A lot of characters.
I like it. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to bring us to the end of the show. Thank you so much, Josh. Thank you, Andy. Thank you, listeners. Thank you, viewers. And as always, please be excellent to each other.